Welcome to Gospel Tangents, the best source for Mormon history, science, and theology. I'm Rick Bennett. We're continuing our walk through Brent Ashworth's museum. Basically, we're going to see more of his Americana, including stuff from the Titanic, the Red Baron, Abraham Lincoln, Robert E. Lee, and Pearl Harbor. So you won't want to miss this conversation. Check it out. Well, we had a little break there on the camera, tech issue, but we're going to talk about some other stuff over here.
Well, that's okay. The advertisement for the Titanic is right here, and it had shows all of the compartments it had, which they claimed were made unsinkable. But of course, we know that story. And there's also a something from the Queen Mary here. One of the gauges, they had to take those off when they did that. And I don't know if you can. Do you want me to grab some of those things? Anyway, there's
oh, you know what? Tell you what, can I sneak over here and hopefully I won't trip over anything?
Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to kill myself. We've got Babe Ruth.
There's Babe Ruth there. That's a signed Babe Ruth. And then up above it is von Richthofen.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to Brigham Young next.
Yeah. And that's a signed photo of von Richthofen, the Red Baron. It's a rare photo. It's a rare signature. And then Robert E. Lee is down on the bottom. I don't know if you got it.
You said this is a really rare photograph?
Yeah, it's signed by him in uniform, which is rare. He didn't have a whole lot of time during the war to sign.
And then here, I'm going to bring this out.
Hold that up if you want to hand it to me.
Yes.
This is Mitsu Fushida. And
if I can try not to fall.
Yeah. Mitsu Fushida, and he was the guy that said Tora, 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 led the attack on Pearl Harbor. And the stamp there is one from Japan at the time showing Battleship Row at Pearl Harbor. That's probably about the angle he was dropping torpedoes on our ships.
Wow.
And he signed it in English and Japanese, and then he put the scripture, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
That's in Luke.
And he'd gotten a green card. He became an evangelical minister, toured the United States, and applied for citizenship, but he didn't live long enough to get citizenship.
Oh, wow.
He was able to tour the United States.
Okay, I'll try to put that back. And try not to trip on anything.
Yeah. And the old Bible there is from 1784. The boards are boards. They're wooden. And when they talk about the boards of a book, it's a heavy board. See?
Yeah, it really is.
And that's from that period.
1784. Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, that gives you a little bit there.
Oh, so there's the Red Baron's model of the airplane.
Yeah, the Red Baron's model.
The actual Red Baron right there.
Red Baron's signature. These are interesting here too. Won't go into all of these, but this is an early picture of the Provo Temple.
Yeah, which is been torn down. I'm so disappointed about that.
We're only 3 weeks.
First presidency doesn't seem to care about historic buildings very much.
Well, it's too bad on that, but we're enjoying watching the new one go up. So there's the steel's going on around. This was given to President Kimball at the Jerusalem Center when they dedicated that, and they'd had a scribe, a soda scribe, write out some of Nephi.
Oh, oh, wow.
In the Book of Mormon, a little note on President Kimball is down there, but they gave it to the prophet.
Okay.
And
tell me about this bell.
Well, the bell is from a school over in Ely, Nevada.
Okay.
And that's where that's from. We keep tripping over it. And this thing that you first pictured over here was for making popsicles in the 50s.
This thing here?
Popsicle mold. Yeah. I don't know if we got the table.
This is the popsicle mold. What's this other thing?
Well, that's the thing that we had a question on. But turns out that it's a wagon jack for changing a wagon wheel.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They're quite common in their day, but we didn't know what it was.
Uh-huh.
And these are a few other things. Here's a painting of my dad's ship, the USS Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Given to him by a good friend of his. It was Floyd Breinholt was the head of the art department at BYU. That's a Ukrainian painting there. This is a European one here. This was given to President Benson for this humanitarian work. And that's a Robert F. Kennedy letter after the assassination when they're setting up the museum. You may remember Andrew Card whispering into George Bush's ear.
Oh, yeah, when 9/11.
We're getting attacked. Yeah. And this is the Currier knives of Lincoln's family. Back in that day and age. This a friend of mine gave me. Milton Larson, a good friend, gave me that for Christmas a couple years ago. And it's the front page of Blues Pictorial out of Boston in 1856. But if you look close, those are hand cards. It's the only picture of the hand cards I know of that was done while they were coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's the only one I ever heard of. This is the BY Academy. This is a graduation certificate.
No, that's different than BYU, right? It was an academy and
preceded it.
College. BYC, I think, was Brigham Young College.
Well, Brigham Young College is Logan, but
that's Logan.
Brigham Young University was 1903. I don't know if you remember Gary Gilmore.
Oh, yeah.
That's the practice shot. He wanted to be executed by firing squad. He was the first one from 1972 in Furman, Georgia. I was in law school. That passed. This is a pre-attack map of Iwo Jima.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a secret map that was put out for the military. You can see the mountain is on that far left.
Where Iwo Jima is.
Yeah. This is Iwo Jima. And see, I don't know if I
got it
up. That's the problem with having too many things. Yeah. This is Earthrise.
Earthrise, yeah.
It's signed by Tom Lovell and what was the other one? One of the other astronauts. That's a campaign poster for Robert Kennedy. That's
George Washington.
George Washington. That's about 1850.
That painting's from 1850?
Yeah, it's actually a chromolithograph. It was just a new process at the time. It's not actually painting. But this is
E.T.
Steven Spielberg's. This is his motion that he filed in California to allow him to use child actors for E.T.
Oh,
so that's what that is. And this is Wild Bill Hickok's signature. You see that?
Okay.
And this is Jesse James' signature.
Jesse James.
I can hold that up.
Jesse James has actually been on my podcast, but it's a different guy.
Oh, different guy. So we can put all those back. And
maybe.
And let's see. Got all those back.
There we go.
Okay, so those are those.
Let's see. We mentioned we recorded the. This is a uniform from the British in the War of 1812.
1812. That kind of goes along with the brick over here.
Oh, yes.
General Grant's table.
Oh, we didn't. I think we missed that.
Oh, okay. Well, this is General Ulysses Grant's poker table from his home in Galena, Illinois, for the Civil War. My friend Glenn Beck says he wants that for his museum, so don't sell that, Ashworth.
There's not that many people that say my friend Glenn Beck, are there?
Well, he's been a friend for years. He wrote the intro to my book, so
okay.
I'm a good friend. That's
so you know him really
the
well.
Original White House that was destroyed by the British.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder what this shell was when I first got it. I was told it was World War II, and my father-in-law came in one day. He was in the second wave of D-Day, so we had both our dads covered the war, either side of the war. And he came in and I says, well, Mike, what caliber is this? He says, well, that's a Nazi 88. We got as far away.
Oh, that's a Nazi shell.
Yeah. So that settled that.
Wow.
They had to go. This is from the Salt Lake Olympic 2002. To ski from that. This was L.S.R. Ship's table from her. She was the first woman doctor from Utah. And Brigham sent her off to get medical education.
Oh, okay.
This was from her living room. My dad-in-law bought that. We couldn't afford it. This chair is a gondola chair, and it was made by a carpenter in Salt Lake named Brigham Young. Oh. And he made it for Emily Dow Partridge Young, his wife. We got it from her family. And
Emily Dow Partridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she'd been a poor wife of Joseph Smith before that.
Oh, yeah.
When they divided up the
When I've been able to sit in Brigham Young's chair, last time I just got a picture. We're going to get a video this time.
You bet. And then the clock is from the Salt Lake Tribune. That was their official clock. And the fire hat is from the Spanish Fork Fire Department, 1905.
Okay.
And then she used to stand on the roads when I was a little kid. This is from the 40s and 50s. Provo 2030 Club. In other words, you slow down. You come to that. This is a Ben-Hur. And if your parents were wealthy in 1913, they could buy you one of these. You can really get going fast in it.
Oh, wow.
But it has no brakes. So you better make sure you got shoe leather to slow it down. Okay.
No brakes.
No brakes. And then the sports stuff, there's Larry Bird's signed ball up on top.
Wow. There we go, Larry Bird.
And then right below it, next one down is Nolan Ryan signed baseball.
Oh, wow.
And then this thing over on the side is one of the very first Olympic torches. Hitler added the Olympic torch run.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, for the 36 Olympics. Before that, we didn't have it unless they did it anciently. But if you look closely at that, you can see it's engraved all around the handle from Mount Olympus down to Berlin.
Oh, wow.
Where it came. So that's kind of a scarce one. The Utah torch is over here outside it's over on this side.
Yeah, I see it.
And that's.
Did you run with that torch?
What's that?
Did you run with the Utah torch?
No, I didn't. But
that looks like a Muhammad Ali glove.
That's a Muhammad Ali signed glove.
Yeah.
And there next to it is my favorite baseball player. If you look at the cap, Mickey Mantle signed the cap.
Mickey Mantle. Well, I'm a Red Sox fan, so I don't like it. But
I won't hold that against you. At any rate, right below that is a Yogi Berra uniform.
Right there, number 8.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's Yogi Berra.
I just watched an interesting documentary on Yogi.
Yeah,
I think everybody loves Yogi Berra, even though he's a Yankee.
Yeah, and then this is from the Berlin Wall, that little stone in there. And
this stone here.
And here's a bigger one here, Berlin Wall.
Oh, okay.
And then Steve Young signed the football on the bottom there, and it's next to the Pan American airline bag.
Okay.
No longer with us. This Bible over here dates from 1716, and it was ordered by our king at that time, George I. He ordered this guy, John Basket, to make a Bible. He was the printer of the king's most excellent majesty. And beautiful Bible. This is what he came up with.
This is printed. It's not handwritten. Okay.
It's printed in 1716. And the only problem was when they got to Luke, one of the headings said, in the vineyard. But it said, instead of that, it said in the vinegar. So Bibles were known for their mistakes back then, and this became the Vinegar Bible. There was a wicked Bible, and that was the guy left out all the knots on the 10 Commandments. So thou shalt murder, thou shalt steal, thou shalt commit adultery, and so on, without the knots. So that guy went to prison.
Oh, no.
For that one. But so you don't want to leave out your knots, you know. That's of course a cigar store Indian over there.
Yeah.
And these were some of our troopers in World War II that climbed the Alps when they were fighting Italy and Germany.
Those were the old snowshoes.
The old snowshoes.
They got better ones now.
Is an old picture from the 1893 Columbian Exposition. That's the Utah building. It's the first time we had a building in an international fair.
Oh, wow.
Tabernacle Choir went there and sang, and the thing that fell down here is from Remember Pearl Harbor.
It's what?
Remember Pearl Harbor.
Oh, that is his room. Okay.
That lights up still, but it's kind of dangerous.
Oh, really?
So anyway, over here, my only claim to fame in church history is a guy you never heard of, Alpheus Gifford.
Okay.
And Alpheus Gifford and his companion Eliezer Miller were a mission companionship that left in a group of 5 missionaries right after Samuel Smith, 1831. But they went up to the Mendon area in New York. And Alpheus was my great-great-grandpa. Anyway, the story goes, because neither man could write, and if you can't write, you're forgotten. That's why you haven't heard their names. But they each had one convert baptism during the 7 months they were out. Eliezer baptized Brigham Young, and my great-great-grandpa baptized his friend Heber C. Kimball. And that's one of Heber C's vests there. This is Lake Kimball's wool weasel, it's called. You've heard Pop Goes the Weasel? This is where it comes from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the wool weasel, they popped this thing around as they're twisting wool. In fact, it was Mary Whitmer, that twisted wool that they tied the Book of Mormon manuscript with.
Oh.
I've got a couple of pieces out of hers, and there's a piece up at the church museum.
We need to check out your Book of Mormon collection, especially the early stuff.
We got a lot of things on that. And then my favorite Western was High Noon with Gary Cooper. He was my favorite actor. These were his chaps from High Noon.
Okay.
And I've got his contract for that film. They gave him $100,000, which is a lot of money in 1951, 52.
Yeah.
And at any rate, he did that film. It's sitting on, this is the old Hollywood Wax Museum ticket thing. I got
ticket taker, yeah.
Yeah, where you get your tickets. Neil Armstrong's guitar is over there. It's signed by him. It's in the glass case.
Okay.
Neil Armstrong? Oh, I'm sorry. Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond, okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know Neil Diamond was, or Neil Armstrong was a guitar, but Neil Diamond is.
This is Neil Armstrong. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, which is a misquote, but we don't care. He said that's one giant step for a man. We revised it. In front here, this JT, this was John Taylor's valise. He took this on his second mission to England.
Okay.
And so that's what that is. This is Wilford Woodruff's saddle.
Oh, wow.
I've used this in the Wilford Woodruff Papers project that I've been working on. He wanted one like his friend Buffalo Bill Cody with his name on the back, so it has Will Woodruff here.
Oh, okay. I'm going to sneak in a little closer there so we can see that. This is Brigham Young's chair, by the way.
This is a yoke. And from the metalwork, I had an old blacksmith that told me years ago that this is 18th century work on the metal.
Oh, wow.
And at any rate, this was found in Spanish Fork, so we know across the plains.
Okay.
And it's a yoke for oxen. People say it's too small, but we yoke oxen when they're babies, and we just get bigger yokes.
Oh, okay.
They get bigger. So that's a little oxen yoke. And then these are fun. This is a set of skis. These came out of Spanish Fork too.
That looks like a terrible set of skis.
With metal attached to the bottom, so they go faster. We asked the family if they had any poles, and they said, no, but we got a picture of great-grandfather on one of these being pulled by a horse. Maybe you didn't need poles back then. Anyway, this is I was going to point out this chair. This is a Hollywood chair. This has been sat in by all the Rat Pack guys one time or another. All the people who have sat in this chair are listed here, the famous ones anyway. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, all those guys. Burr Lancaster, Charlton Heston, Clint Walker. Any rate, Ben Jonson, Kirk Douglas, and Henry Fonda, Broderick Crawford, and even Roy Rogers. And the dress belonged to Frank Sinatra's one-time wife, who was Ava Gardner.
Okay.
So that's who the dress belonged to. And
is that the dress? Because it looks similar. I guess it's
that's a little different.
Yeah.
But I heard an interesting story. About 12 years ago, it's more longer than that. It's been 15 years. I was the governor of Utah, Idaho, Kiwanis. So I visited all 71 clubs.
Oh, my.
In Utah and Idaho. Every week I visit a new club. And I went to one of the clubs, and this guy was sitting there. I don't know if you remember George Kennedy.
Oh, yeah.
The actor.
He was in The Naked Gun, among other things.
Anyway, he was in his mid-80s. He's retired. And it was in Eagle, Idaho that he was sitting there. And he told us a story about her that I've never forgotten. I thought it was cute. He said that Ava Gardner was his favorite actress in Hollywood. He'd been there 20 years and never met her. And then all of a sudden in 1974, they were put into a show called Earthquake. And they both had part in Earthquake. Anyway, his part in the program was above LA during the earthquake. The dam's coming apart. So if you look at this rock wall and pretend it's fake and there's water coming through it, they're trying to dam it up. And they filmed that about 40 takes down a manhole cover in downtown Los Angeles.
Oh.
And anyway, it was dirty and filthy. They finally got done. He came up through the manhole cover. Here's this vision sitting in one of these chairs, you know, Ava Gardner, his favorite actor. He said, I probably went 3 shades of red.
Yeah.
He says, Miss Gardner, you're my favorite actress. I've always wanted to meet you. I've been here forever, but this first time I've ever seen you, and I didn't want to meet you, a dirty, stinking mess. He said when he got back to his trailer that night, after the filming, there was a box of long stem roses with a note from her saying, you look fine to me, George, Ava. And it says, it may seem funny, but I've kept her note for 40 years. You know, he still had the note.
Oh,
so
that's
that was
funny.
a cute story.
I'm trying to remember, was he in Airplane too?
Uh-huh.
I think so, yeah.
He was in a lot of those old films.
Yeah.
And he'd been in gangster movies back before that. You know?
Yeah.
Some with Leslie Nielsen too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what that is. This is a Union drum from the Civil War.
Oh, no way.
Still got the eagle on it. It's in pretty good shape. And we've got Civil War rifles and swords over here. And there's a Revolutionary War rifle. I didn't point it out, but that's a long one over here. It's about a foot longer. That's Revolutionary War.
I'm going to get closer to that one right there in the corner.
Yeah, that's kind of a Minuteman one. I only have the ramrod for that, but the metal's still on it and all that. That's Revolutionary War. To your left there is an ad that somebody put in the paper for the election of 1860.
Yeah.
Where we had 4 candidates running for president, 2 in the South, 2 in the North. And Lincoln was elected with only 40% of the popular vote.
Oh, wow.
And was the most hated president in our history.
Uh-huh.
I tell people that, and they argue with me. Because Lincoln was the most hated president. Half the country didn't leave because Trump got elected, but half the country left when he got elected.
Right.
And so he was by far the most hated president in our history, and one of the most beloved now.
Yeah.
But, you know, he earned that.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little bit on him. This chair is from the Heber C. Kimball. I got a lot of stuff from Heber C.'s home when they sold everything off. And this hat was Lana Turner's. Do you remember her? She was an old actress from the 40s. And she used it when she went out on USO tours in World War II. It's a Marine Corps hat, and it's signed by her here, down here.
Wow.
And this is a CCC camp hat. I didn't know it had cats, but this is a CCC cap.
Civilian Conservation Corps.
That's it. And this was
Great Depression.
This was the guy's chest there. And it's got CCC on it from Utah in the 30s. And I don't know if you could read the name on the log.
Ted Bundy.
Does that ring a bell?
He was your classmate.
He was my classmate. And I told that.
And he stole your book.
We had to sit in alphabetical order because our professor was number 2 at Yale in criminal law, and he wanted us to sit alphabetically. So Ashworth got to sit next to Bundy. I didn't know who he was, just another student. And somebody brought this into my first store.
Yeah, I think you know more serial killers than anybody I know.
Well, I shouldn't have. You talking about.
You're lucky to be alive.
Yeah, I guess I'm lucky to be alive. Anyway. And so somebody brought this in my first store. I think it may be real because it was cut down up in Mill Creek where he later said he drugged some victims, you know.
Oh, I'm so terrible.
But my class was in 74, 75. He signed this in 75. And, of course, he was arrested after that. So Anyway, interesting. But I did sit next to him and lost a book, so I've always blamed him for stealing my book, which was a big catastrophe at the time because the books were $50 when tuition was $250
Right.
back then. So, yeah, and this is The Death of Lincoln by Courier and Ives. There's the printmakers of the nation. This is Lincoln's signature here.
Sneak over here.
And this is a signed commission. You can see his signature there. It's a signed commission for a Civil War captain in the Navy, and that's why there's Poseidon coming out of the water here. I've got an Army one above my desk at home. It just has cannons and guns there in that place. This is Washington's signature here. Oops, that was a grenade. I'm glad it's not loaded. There's Washington's signature. Some of Washington's hair is hair. Washington never wore a wig, and in his later years, Jefferson didn't either. They just curled their head and powdered it. Franklin, Adams, and most of them wore wigs, but these two didn't. And Washington's hair was white by the time he was president, so powder was white. But Jefferson's hair remained red, so even when he powdered it white, it looked a little weird, you know. He's painted red. I don't know where that grenade went. It was from World War II. Okay. This is a carpet bag. The carpetbaggers sent the South after the Civil War. This is a World War I set of binoculars. And that's a mortar from Vietnam. This is signed Musically Yours, Patsy Cline. Next to it is the president that I was born under, Harry Truman. He had a sign on his desk saying the buck stops here. So he signed the buck and it's framed up with that. That's why that's there. In the 30s, when we celebrated Washington's 200th anniversary, they put out a lot of things commemorative. This was tobacco, George Washington's greatest American cut plug. You can buy a box full of tobacco. And that's a cigar mold bag.
Oh, right there, yeah.
Yeah. And this is a piece of the seat that John F. Kennedy was sitting on when he was assassinated. It was torn up by Ford Motor Company that owned the Lincoln Continental. And my grandson just finished a mission in Michigan a couple years ago, and we were talking about this over the weekend. One of the Ford. I went there twice. Younger, but they didn't have the Kennedy car fixed up then. And I don't know if you remember the movie Somewhere in Time.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, that's from that.
I've heard of it, but I don't really remember too much.
Christopher Reeves.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
Clint Eastwood.
That's
Make my day.
Dirty Harry picture, and that's Evil Knievel.
Yeah. There's Dirty Harry, Evil Knievel.
Yeah, I showed you the Armstrong. You got that.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Brent Ashworth. In our next conversation, we're going to see things like the Spirit of St. Louis and some movie posters.
This is this little piece of the Spirit of St. Louis right there. And if you pull that up, you can see a letter he wrote Lindbergh when he brought the plane to Utah, 1927. He wrote that from Salt Lake, a letter over there, framed with it. And a lot of the kids like the Stan Lee signed Spiderman piece there. So I leave that for the kids. We do a lot of youth, firesides there. Had some young women in last week.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you continue to enjoy Gospel Tangents. Consider becoming a Patreon or go to gospeltangents.com/shop, and you can get a cool tie, a hat, or even a nice mug. You can also get a sweatshirt. So check it out at gospeltangents.com/shop.